Chris.
Hello?
What do you want?
You're
Where am I?
usually, yeah, you're always the
No.
first person to be talking, and
No,
you
just let it happen.
I'm concerned. Like, did the aliens take him? Did they swap him out or something?
Listen, I ate like 4 whole turkeys in the last like 3 days.
You're lying.
11.5.
We
It's
know
been a
we know
rough.
yeah, we know it was 7 or 8 turkeys.
Yeah.
I just want to go to beds.
The itis has him.
Listen, I heard from a very reputable source that it's bullshit. No one likes turkey, so why the fuck would you do that? So
Who doesn't like turkey?
I did not eat any turkey on Thanksgiving Day.
you know what? Neither did I.
I had ham. Ham is better.
My wife gets
also
ham
crap.
for Christmas and turkey for Thanksgiving. She doesn't
That's
like
fair.
turkey
That's,
either.
That's traditional.
I don't understand how you fuckers don't like turkey.
Oh no,
I do like turkey. I was just saying that a very reputable source told me that.
Yeah.
No one actually likes turkey, and everyone's lying.
Yeah,
Well,
I
they're
do.
liars.
In fact, I like turkey.
They are liars. They're politicians.
Ham's just better.
Say hamster?
No, ham
Hamster
is
is
just
Whoa,
better.
whoa! Like
Yes.
it's some sort of
hamster.
space hamster, or
Well, this is a podcast where we do occasionally talk about miniature giant space hamsters.
and sometimes the food that you find in Baldur's Gate 3, of course. Yeah.
Oh yes, and that because we were the Grumpy Dungeon Masters, where we talk about role playing games of all sorts. I'm Jay, joined with my co-hosts Christopher, Christian, and Dan. Say hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Hello there.
There it is.
Come on, Chris, you gotta say something.
No.
All right, that was something.
Excellent.
So, Christian, where can they find us on the social medias and stuff?
You can find the Grumpy Dungeon Masters on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also listen to our podcast on YouTube, and you can find us streaming on Twitch TV at Grumpy Dungeon Masters on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We'll be playing, I guess, Baldur's Gate 3 right now, and on Saturday, after the holidays. After the holidays, tune in to Saturdays to see the return of Grumpy Dungeon Master Christopher's 5e D&D game, Waterdeep Worldborn Dead.
Good job.
Yeah.
All right, Chris. So you had something you wanted to bitch about for about 15 minutes.
15
Cutting him
minutes,
off.
yeah. The timer, boys. No, so Stranger Things started over Thanksgiving weekend.
No spoilers.
No spoilers.
No
coming
spoilers.
Up.
No spoilers coming up.
I was going to say there will be no spoilers, so
yeah,
go for it.
It's great. I loved it. I thought it was. I have no complaints about the show. I was, however, watching this weird, like, clip of an interview where they were interviewing the Duffer brothers, Mark and Ross, about the show and the influence it's had on D&D and the influence D&D had on the show. And one of the Duffer brothers brought up, it's like, we actually don't play or like D&D. And that kind of took me back for a second. I was like, what? And they went on to explain that they wanted to use a framing device for the kids as they experience these monsters, and they had a couple ideas, and D&D was just the one that worked out best for them. And they were afraid people wouldn't like it if they used D&D because they knew D&D was popular, but they thought it would just work well for that in the framing device, and they ran with it. And since then, it's become a very big kind of like amazing, almost D&D like property, or just a spin-off of it. There, I got a comic book right here that's the intro of the Hellfire Club. They're selling D&D merch and D&D shit all over the place with the Stranger Things brand on it. And it just kind of took me back, seeing how they just didn't really care or like D&D at all. They were asked what was a monster that they regretted not using in the show, and they're like, I don't really know any of the D&D monsters. I think there's one called Vlad that we didn't use, that we wanted to use. And I was sitting here thinking, like, Vlad? Did they mean Strahd? What the fuck? Anyways, I just felt really taken back by that. And they could just be pulling my leg or pulling the interviewer's leg or whatnot. But
It sounds like a troll to me.
it didn't feel like that. I mean, you don't have to love the game that I love as much as it is, but at least acknowledge how much your influence with the show, putting it in there, has brought the game out to the public, and don't just kind of like hand wave it away when it's done so much. I just felt off.
So a very quick Google search. Yes, the Duffer Brothers grew up playing Dungeons and Dragons.
I know it said that, but I'm just saying this is what happened in the interview. So
I think, because we've seen this multiple times now, that you get into something, Chris. You like something, and so you have to troll the internets for everything there is related to that thing and anybody involved in it. And the internet's opinion or some random person's comments on it weighs way too heavily on your enjoyment of a thing for just what it is. Instead of just enjoying the thing, you have to go consume other people's opinions and enjoyment of the thing, and then get annoyed if it does not equal your own.
You're right. So that kind of brings me to the actual point of why I wanted to bring this up. Are you guys aware of a YouTuber named Sellsword Arts?
No.
Never
how
heard
about?
of it.
I'm pretty sure I'm not aware of any YouTubers, but go on.
Okay. How about Instructor Benzai?
Still no.
Nope.
Blumenik?
Nope.
Jacques the Whipper?
No.
Yes,
Are you just-
but
are
only
you just-
only because that he used to be an NPR host and gave up being an NPR host and journalist to travel around to Ren fairs because he's actually an expert fucking whip master.
Oh,
Okay.
I have seen that
Like,
guy. Okay.
You've seen him. He's funny. He's funny as hell.
All right.
Is he the whip master?
He actually is the whip master. You should see him. He is pretty fucking amazing.
Yeah, he is quite amazing. Well, anyways, so Jacques the Whipper is a known D&D fan.
Oh, yeah.
He's done a couple like live performances of D&D, and the other guys that I mentioned, most specifically Blumenik. I think that's he's like Swedish or something, so I can't say his name right. Blumenik. He's like an archer and does like archery videos. Like, what's 5 foot like distance for an archer? Does it really need to get disadvantage? Or how do medieval bowmen fire 6 shots in 6 seconds? Is that even
I've seen
possible?
him. I have seen this guy.
So he does that kind of stuff, and very entertaining reels to come across. I usually watch a couple when he comes around. Sellsword Online's the kind of same guys, but with swords. I saw a video just today actually about how the Batleth is like the best fantasy weapon ever created. And he was kind of going over the points about how, like, you could use it two-handed, you could use it close in combat, the things that you want a sword for, the Batleth does better, fighting plate mail wielding foes and whatnot.
First off, pump your brakes, and I'm gonna go ahead and shit on Gary Gygax and how he wrote armor and ODD and AD&D. It's not plate mail. It's plate and mail. It's not plate mail. You are either wearing plate, or you're wearing mail, or you're wearing plate and mail. It's not fucking plate mail. For fuck's sake.
Okay.
Go
Fine,
on.
sir.
You fucking
sir. But he has a very
He's
historical.
talking about fucking Batleth or whatever the fuck that is. Jesus Christ. I'm the nerd.
It's the weapon that Klingons use.
Yeah, also nerd.
Yeah, my point fucking stands. Fucking
right.
dork.
So, and then there's the other guy, Instructor Benzai. He's like a martial artist, and he does a lot of kunai and chain style things and whatnot. They all kind of like share the same vibe. It's like, if D&D were real, how would this actually work in D&D? But they also have, their channel, which is a lot of like their specific hobbies about like, what's the difference between a dagger and a short sword, or when does a dagger become a sword? Those kind of questions that they answer. It turns out it's when the blade's longer than your forearm and you can't stab somebody with it. Not thrust with it, but stab somebody with it. It becomes a sword, no longer a dagger. But anyways, they have all gotten together and started a GoFundMe to basically do their own style of D&D show with their knowledge all combined together. Jacques the Whipper has to be a bard, obviously. The min-max guys are going to be, or the Celsius guys are going to be like, swordsman. You have an archer, monk or something. Who knows? I guess a guy called Tater the Bard is going to be the DM. I never heard of him, but he has a D&D channel where he does D&D stuff. I got all the links in our podcast chat channel in case you want to look over any of their stuff. But like, I don't know, the Duffer Brothers, that got me sad. But this actually got me happy. A bunch of just D&D nerds with D&D nerd related channels are coming together and doing a D&D nerd show. And that's not Critical Role. So I'm just happy about it, and I wanted to spread the word about it.
But there's already a lot of D&D shows out there. Not going to shit on it. I hope this works out great for them. But there's so fucking many of them.
There are so many fucking many of them, but I think the difference with this one is that you already have like 5 to 6 already branded people, okay, coming together to do a show that they're going to basically take their own branded crazy and bring it together. It's not like even what I do on Saturdays. It's going to be a little bit more than that. So people have been wanting it. People are just like, hey, we should play D&D with so-and-so. That's why Jacques the Whipper went on all the live shows that he did for D&D. And I think that if there's anyone that's going to help like bring the D&D show forward into the next kind of like popular genre, it's going to be these group of guys. Because even like who is the guru? The video producers that make stupid
Man Shorts?
Not Man Shorts. Corridor Crew. They tried a D&D show out for a little bit where they try to use all their visual effects studio knowledge to kind of like play the game, but then like have their characters like models come to life and shit like that. Like that was an interesting concept, but it doesn't work for some reason. Like no one really wants to watch that, which is kind of a shame. But I'm hoping that these already established character actors essentially
like what are the biggest ones? The biggest ones out there are Critical Role and Acquisitions Inc., right?
Dimension 20.
Nah,
Dimension 20. Okay. So Dimension 20 I can't speak on, but Critical Role works because you have professional actors. Like
right.
These guys make a living as actors. Acquisitions Inc. works because it's Jeremy Crawford with special guest with a crew, and it's a whole lot of weirdness and comedy along the way. And these guys all have a name ahead of time. Dimension 20, I'm not exactly sure what they do, but they,
it's same thing, but with comedians.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're all
improv comedians and stuff.
They're all very funny.
So
TV for the most part.
Yeah. So the fact that these guys who already do have a sort of brand online, when they have their own specific sort of weirdness, they'll probably be able to make it work just fine. If you go if you get outside of that and you're trying to pull things together without that level behind it, then it'll be a struggle.
Yeah. I don't know what I don't know exactly what the show is going to be. But they wanted to raise $20,000 and they raised $100,000.
Off to a good start.
I guess with the GoFundMe, I don't know why it got paused, but they stopped donations on it.
Maybe they had enough.
I mean, that's what it sounds like. They had an update here where they said they have enough money now to do 3 seasons of the show, which I would keep taking the money in. You're going to run into a lot of problems,
Yeah, they planned for 3 seasons. They're going to get 1.5 out of that money. So
yeah. So I think this show has a shot. Like I said, I'm really sad the Core of the Crew one didn't work. There's a couple others out there that kind of work just because YouTube Shorts is the thing. But, no one sits around and watches the people play games that much, unless it's Critical Role and like Dimension 20.
Yep.
Even Acquisitions Incorporated only gets like 500-600 people watching it at best.
Yeah, but Acquisitions Inc. is also, it's not on every week. It's a sporadic thing.
Yeah. But I want them to be successful, so I'm talking about it wherever I can. And I'm just hoping that they have a really good show and I enjoy it. And it's not like fake people being fake about their love of D&D and hating stuff. I don't care what you think about it. My mind's not changing ever.
Okay, and there's still no place to
course
buy
not.
books in Charleston, right?
Yep.
Just checking on that one.
There's no place buying pinball games in Charleston.
And that either.
Yeah, no bookstores.
Yeah, it's impossible.
All right, let's move.
There's
on.
nothing within walking distance of my house.
I can believe. Okay.
Yeah, that's probably true. All right,
Now,
so
see, that was 15 minutes. Screw you guys.
Hey, Chris is actually 13. So we're going to move on to Cursed Scroll number 6, or the spells for Shadowdark, which we've been wanting to talk about for a couple of weeks now.
Yeah.
I'll let one of you guys lead this topic since I read this book 2 weeks ago.
I thought we were going to talk about psionics.
No, that's at the end of the podcast, like always.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Get Craig out of here.
Yep.
The show just ended right there.
Well, we're done.
Not too late.
Shortest one ever.
I'll start off with I wanted to start with the spells because these are, at least some of these are still in playtest. Some of these have been released as part of the Cursed Scrolls, though the Cursed Scrolls are only in digital format, so I suppose if there was something really out of whack, there's still time to change it.
All right, so we're going to start with the Necromancer spells.
I think we'll start with the Necromancer because this is a new class, and I very much like that they went with the Necromancer. I'll get into the whole details on the class since we just have the spells here. But the Necromancer is in more of, it's very much following the books of Sabriel. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, it's the Abhorsen series by Garth Nix.
Okay. So they're more like priests than they are like wizard type people. They're the people that help you navigate, they help the dead navigate the realm of the dead, and they help the living navigate,
how to deal with the undead.
How to deal with the undead, the spirits. So it's an interesting take on them. You could easily play you could, within this class, you can play an exorcist, sending the dead back where they belong, an undead hunter, that kind of thing, spirit medium, or you can play your, mustache twirling necromancer bad guy, if you so choose. You got all the tools to play any one of those kind of roles in there, so that's nice.
Very similar to how Ed Greenwood described the Priest of Mercurial, that they're just there to help people cross over. Keep cemeteries all nice and pretty and clean and whatnot, and make sure everyone respects the dead and no one's going crazy with undead stuff. And then he's a bad guy with the Dead 3, which is kind of weird when you think about it. But
yeah, this leaves it open. Like, you can be that, or you can be the asshole who's like, I want to make a whole bunch of undead and attack people with them.
Yeah, because the class itself is not tied to a particular deity. But we do have now the spell list, or at least the playtest version of the spell list for the Necromancer. Some of them are things that are pulled in from Shadowdark Core that make sense. Things like Animate Dead and things that were already there. So those kind of things that you would expect, they just give them those because it plays right. But they do have some really neat things here. They have a bunch of spells that reference numbered gates, which I guess is direct references to the books.
Yes, although it doesn't go as far because there are 5 gate spells, but in the books there are 9 different gates.
Okay. Yeah, I have not read the book, so I'm not familiar with it. So I just know I've been in the chat some where she's been talking about the kind of, I guess, the inspiration from the books. Not trying to
I
necessarily be the
yeah.
exact same thing, but
I've talked about the series on here before. I don't want to go very deep into it, but I really, really recommend reading that series.
yeah, but they do have some neat spells in here. They have I guess what would be in D&D vampiric touch in the form of drain life, where you deal some damage and regain some hit points. But it has the interesting effect that if you cast it on an undead instead of a living creature, you take damage and it regains hit points.
I like that. Sort of the reversal of it.
Yeah, they have some spells to just wipe out some undead.
Yep. Don't touch Jackie Daytona with that spell.
What was the other ones I really wanted to look at?
They brought back
Uh,
Ghoul Touch.
Oh
Or
yeah,
she did,
Ghoul Touch.
which has not
Ghoul,
been seen since 3rd edition, I don't think, as a spell.
yeah. You touch a
Yeah.
creature, you deal a little bit of damage, and you can paralyze them. Which is
Yeah.
Yeah,
always
it
good
was
fun.
it was a fantastic spell back in 3rd edition with Spectral Hand, just Ghoul Touching the shit out of people to paralyze them. Kind of disappointed they never put it back in 5th edition. It's weird.
It's hard to balance it because it's paralyzed. They would have
Hold
made it.
person 2nd level.
I know, but you know how they are. We don't want to give other fucking hold person spells. Bleh.
Yeah.
Really? You Misty
They
Step
do.
every single class?
Well,
Anyway.
Misty Step's
Uh,
fine. No problems there.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, sorry.
They do have a couple ones. I like this one. This is a tier 3 necromancer spell. It's Reap the Soul, where
Yeah.
you draw the life force from a creature that was killed within near in the last round, and then you gain HP and a bonus to your next attack roll or spell casting check equal to the target's level. So that's cool.
So on that same area, there's another one called River Walk, which I absolutely fucking love this spell.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Teleport is boring. Let's be honest. I was here, now I'm there. It's kind of boring. But Riverwalk, you can only cast the spell while standing in a river. You briefly step into the river of death, sliding between space and time itself. You and any willing creatures you choose within close range teleport to another river you've stood in on your same plane. I love sort of the feel behind that spell. As well, if I was playing a
Yeah. I mean,
necromancer,
it's the Necromancer's version of Tree Walk. It's
yeah,
it's great.
yeah. If I was playing a necromancer, people would be very confused. Like everywhere I'd go, I'd be walking into a river.
Yeah, and that's not the only river-based spell that they have. There's also Necronomicon, which is fucking great. Here for you draw on your knowledge of the Book of the Dead to divine portents reflected in the dark waters of the River of Death. You can ask the GM up to 3 yes or no questions, one each round. The GM truthfully answers yes or no. If you cast a spell more than once a week, treat a failed spellcasting check for it as a critical failure instead. And the other one is Vision, which is tier 4. You can cast a spell only cast a spell while standing in a river. The water surrounds you, become the river of death itself, and visions dance on its surface. For the spell's duration, you can see and hear a creature or location you choose. Treat a failed spellcasting check for this spell as a critical failure. So, I mean, it's just a very cool version of Scry.
Yeah,
It's great.
Yeah.
it's taking spells that definitely already exist in D&D, adding them into this, but it's giving you a lot of flavor just in a short amount of text.
Yeah,
It
4
gives you
sentences, you know exactly what you can do, and if I were to pull out, I haven't pulled up the scry spell in 3rd edition,
oh, it's a
4th edition,
stat.
or
It's
5th
a
edition, but
huge
it's like
fucking
it's
stack
half a
of
page
text.
of a
Yeah,
recall. It's huge. And like if you have a strand of their hair, you can do this, and then if you've seen them in person, or if violet or blood, and if you're using a crystal ball versus using a font of water. But like this is just simple. It's literally 4 sentences, and it's more thematic and like if I'm as a character, like I'm rogue hiding on the thanks for river, and some fucking dude in black robes walks in the river and just kind of holds his hands up, and then suddenly black water starts swirling around him. He starts just looking at something. I'm running the fuck away. It's like he might just be casting a scrying spell, but that's creepy,
It's some weird shit. Why is this guy standing in the middle of the river?
right?
Yeah, they're all very thematic. They're all a little weird, which is what in a especially in a sword and sorcery type of game, your magic should be a little weird. It shouldn't feel scientific. It shouldn't feel just run of the mill. It should have some weird quirks to it that make people look at you funny, or that where you can understand this is why people look at anyone that practices magic with a kind of a weird eye, because they're like, these people all act a little strange. They do things that are strange. Every time they use magic, it looks weird. It just it gives you a reason to understand why people are so mistrustful and spooked out by magic, because it's all unusual.
Yeah.
And just to piggyback on that, because those river spells we just mentioned, if treat a failure as a critical failure, so you're going to end up having a mishap. So even if you're like part of the necromancer's party, and like he's done this cool thing where he stepped in the river and he saw what he needs to see of the big boss or whatever the next adventure is going to be, and that's really all there was to it. And not really scared of it anymore. But at some point in time, the dice are not in your fucking favor. And suddenly you're having a mishap, and there's a necrotic backlash, or there's a possession, and a hostile ghost appears and uses action to try to possess you. All kinds of crazy stuff. Or even worse, Wellspring. The river of death breaks through into the world where you stand, causing a spring of necrotic water to bubble forth. Hordes of undead emerge through this breach each day until it is somehow closed. There's no explanation of how to fucking close it. It's just, this is what happens if you botch a fucking scrying spell.
Yeah, mishaps are so good.
Yeah, I love that necromancers get their own set of mishaps. So that
that is
yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah,
before
we dive too far into the mishaps, there's one other spell I wanted to bring
Oh
up.
yeah, go ahead.
Summon Soul. It is
Yes.
it's a tier 5 necromancer spell. An undead being comes to your aid. You must know the being's name in order to summon it. The being appears within near of you. It acts of free will to aid you on your turn, treating you as an ally for the spell's duration. If you harm the being, the spell ends. After 10 rounds, the being departs. You can't cast the spell again to summon the same being for a year's time. So with this, you could just summon up Vecna, if you know who Vecna is. Don't have to have ever met him, just have to know his name. And he helps you out for 10 rounds. What he does after that 10 rounds is up to Vecna.
Yep. Yeah, I do like all the gate spells have like 2 different effects that you can choose from, which is neat. Like this is this is the tier 5 one, the 5th gate, where it's the target gains 5 rounds on its death timer. It becomes conscious and may act normally while dying. If the creature would take damage while under the effects of the spell, it instead loses a round on its death timer. If it dies while under the effect of the spell, it can make a DC 18 con check. On a success, it returns to life with 1 HP.
Yeah, it's a fantastic spell with a lot of options.
Yeah, and we didn't really, I guess, explain all the different gate spells, but the gate spells have a lot of really neat different options that happen. And they're all very unique. I mean, I guess if you've read the series that Jay mentioned, you might be kind of familiar at least with the naming convention of it. But
that's the extent of it, though. It's just the naming conventions. They don't operate at all like the gates.
Yeah. But yeah, there's just a lot of really cool stuff in here, and I would love to actually be able to roll the stats to play a necromancer.
Well, maybe soon you'll die and you'll get the
Yeah, there you go. Just got to get your character killed and you're good to go.
A lot of maybes.
Yeah. Do we want to go over the priest spells?
I think we can do an overview of it. I guess kind of the way that neutral wizards can kind of basically be druids in Shadowdark. She's kind of gone through and doubled down on the alignment of chaotic, lawful, and neutral. So there's specific spells that are only available to those types of priests now. Some of them are new. Some of them are copies of other spells that would fit or make sense. I'm a little confused of why in a game where the alignment system is chaotic, lawful, and neutral, we're still using protection from good and protection from evil, when really it's not. But that
should be protection from law and protection from chaos.
You would think so, yeah.
Yeah, it would make more sense to me, at least. But whatever. People understand what they do. It's a minor gripe. Doesn't really matter. But other stuff. So prayers back in the menu, boys. Tier 1 lawful priests can cast that. What other new stuff here? I think Halo is new.
Halo, I was just looking at that one. It was on my list of spells to talk about. Level 4 spell. Target self. A brilliant halo of golden light appears over your head. Hostile spells that target you are DC 18 to cast for this spell's duration. That's a high fucking DC. Even though you're pretty high level by the point you're able to cast it, that's a high DC for things to be able to target you as spells.
Yeah, it is. It's basically spell resistance.
Yeah,
old school, like second edition / third edition spell resistance.
It actually mimics the ability of angels, certain angels in the Shadowdark monster bestiary section have the same ability called Halo, and or Divine Radiance or something like that. But it's the same thing where the hostile spells targeting them are DC 18. So it's just giving you, your lawful priest, that same feature.
Yeah.
Tying it in with the angels of the world.
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool spells in here. Like, I read through every single one of them, looking for ones that might be a problem and so forth, because I have players who love making problems.
I like this one. This is a tier 5 law spell. It's called Rapture.
Yeah, that's one of them.
The searing light of law blazes out from you, washing over everything in sight. All other creatures of level 15 or less in range have to pass a DC 15 charisma check or be permanently mute and blind.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's
level 15.
Essentially, what is it? Divine Word?
Yeah,
from
basically.
D&D?
Yeah, level 15 or less. That's everybody. Like, that's fucking everybody in the game.
But I like that it is all other creatures. Your party is not exempt from this.
Oh, no.
And the range is far.
And even more so, it's a charisma check.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to pay. I'm sorry, there is no save for it. It's you have to pass a charisma check of DC 50. Or no, yeah, they have to make a charisma saving throw. Sorry.
Yeah, it's a charisma. Yeah, it's just stat checks. Everything's a stat check.
Yeah. Call it save, stat check, whatever. But yeah, that's a nasty fucking spell, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I love, because this fits with the kind of idea of the like awful good paladin, or the like the law being kind of a dick, of that, like, it's just everyone. It does not care about your companions, even if they are lawful. Your own party just gets washed over with this if they're within far of you.
Yeah. This is like a last ditch spell.
Yeah. Don't be in line of sight of your priest when he does it.
Yeah. And there's a couple of other really neat spells that definitely make sense. I do like how she wrote in, if your deity is Madeira, you cast a spell with advantage. If your deity is Saint Teragnis, cast a spell with advantage. She didn't necessarily include all of the lawful based, official deities, but I mean, I guess any DM can just kind of add in, this would make sense for, Loki, or for Odin or Freya or whatever like that, if they wanted to, or whatever gods they happen to be using in their game. Um, But yeah, it's interesting. They kind of lean into, even though again, there's no technically like specific druid class in Shadowdark, nor will there be based on the way she's writing these. Neutral kind of still kind of leans into that because you end up with spells like root, feast,
Bear shape.
bear shape, yeah,
Bear shape.
which I think is on the what's the seer list, I think. Seer?
No, seers have wolf shape. So
Wolf shape. Okay.
Yeah, I think you find bear shapes on Growler.
priests
God
get
damn it.
neutral priests get bear shape. They also get, and I love this spell. This is tier 5. It's called balance.
I'm sitting here loving this spell while I'm
One
reading
creature
it. Yeah.
you touch of level 10 or less becomes partially or fully petrified in the exact manner of your choosing. For instance, one limb, both eyes, whole body. You also become petrified in the exact same way.
Wow.
Yeah, balance and everything. That's
I mean, again, that's one of those. It's a last ditch effort. Like, oh, great. Well, we can't defeat this guy, but I can basically turn us both to stone until my party figures out how to figure it out how to kill him. So,
Yeah, which is a very kind of fairy tale mythology kind of ending to something. Okay, our great priest, whatever, and they turned both of them to stone. We couldn't figure out how to defeat this guy, so we turned him and both of them to stone. And now there's like these 2 statues here, and until somebody can figure it out, they're just stuck.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you could even walk up, you're wandering into some area or whatever down in a dungeon, and you just see 2 statues near each
Mhm.
other. As
Yeah.
far as
You
you
get-
know, it's just 2 statues.
You guys remember playing through Final Fantasy 2 or 4? When Poem and Palm basically have
Oh,
to
yeah.
sacrifice themselves
Mhm.
to basically petrify themselves so the walls that are crushing you guys stop crushing you all, and they petrify themselves to hold back the walls.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Good
Yep.
storytelling.
But
But
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, these are just really, again, very thematic, and they make the classes. I mean, there's no subclasses or archetypes per se for the classes really, but she's giving you the options to really customize the feel of how you want your character to be, which is nice.
Yeah.
And without chaining you to one thing. So like you can still be a neutral priest and not pick up any of these spells, even if you have the option to do so. You just do regular old priest stuff because there's plenty to work with there.
Well, these could easily also be something that your game master hands out to you as a special thing from your deity. Maybe not even on, maybe not every spell on the if you're a uh, neutral priest, maybe you get specific ones that are handed down. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of cool ways of doing with these spells. I was looking at the chaotic ones, which are the next ones on our list, and
Mhm.
the level 5 damnation spell is another one that's very, very thematic.
Yeah.
You choose a creature in range level 10 or less. You can only target same creature with it one time. The creature is cast into your god's domain. Unless the creature is a worthy follower of your god, it is trapped there to suffer eternal punishment. You can't cast the spell again until you complete penance. Like, that's very powerful, but it's very thematic also. I love how it doesn't explain what penance is. You got to figure that shit out in game.
Yeah. I
Well,
mean,
there is some penance in the core rulebook. That's what happens to priests when they get a mishap on a spell. They don't have a mishap table. They suffer penance where they have to make sacrifices or pay
Mm-hmm.
money to the temples.
Yeah,
or
but
something.
it's not as clean as oh, I just have to go say a prayer 50 times or whatever. Like,
No, it's
right.
not.
There's a lot to it. I'm even dealing with that in DCC. The cleric in the game last night failed her. She basically hit the mishap table with her spell casting and stuff, and then it required her to spend an hour in prayer, and that was like the bottom of the chart. You know, the higher you get on that chart, the fucking worse it is. So
At least you hope the penance is the god, doesn't know what inflation is and just charges you like 200 gold forever to res your
yeah,
party.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, like
I
Jurgle.
love under penance. It is very so it says the GM determines the exact nature of the penance you must undertake based on your deity and alignment.
yeah, there you go.
200 gold.
So it can require a holy quest, ritualistic atonement, or material sacrifice that you donate or destroy. Inadequate or subversive penance only displeases your deity further and makes the spell loss permanent.
Yeah.
I shall be here in thy camp.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's see. I don't think we need to talk about the seer spells.
No,
Unless there's
we
something
don't have to necessarily
specific.
do that. I do like the other cataclysm of simply darkness, where you extinguish light. Even the magical one, it just you get rid of light.
I mean, that's what darkness used to be in second ed. You could just you could counter a light spell with it. You could also make an area of darkness, but it was primarily now I think about it, there was 2 spells of darkness. There, if I remember right, there was darkness and then there was globe of darkness. And
Yeah.
like darkness just countered light spells. It didn't really do much. You could put out, torches and stuff with it. Whereas globe of darkness was the darkness spell that we kind of know from current D&D.
Yeah. We can skip over the seer and the witch spells.
Witch,
Those are already out in current curse scrolls. So we do get down to the wizard spells for their alignments, where neutral wizards are druids. They get some pretty cool stuff.
That's sort of a weird take, making them the druids, though.
Not really. There's a lot of stuff behind that. Like in a lot of the old like Welsh and stuff stories, they actually describe like Merlin as a druid.
Oh yeah. I'm aware, but it's just not how people think of it.
Yeah, didn't you see King Arthur?
Yeah. Which one? I've seen several. Yeah.
The new one the new one that came out. It came out in like 2003.
So, but yeah, there's some cool ones here. There's a lot of fun stuff to interact with the world and do stuff. I particularly like tree shape. You turn into a treant. It's one of the only ways as a character you can have multiple attacks per round.
Cheat the system.
Yep. I also like earthquake, which is just this is another like last ditch effort thing because it's double near. The earth shakes violently, and everyone, including you, everyone on the ground takes a bunch of damage. They take 46 damage, which is not insignificant in Shadowdark. And then every creature that's level 9 or less has to pass a dex check equal to the damage they took, or be swallowed by the earth, never to be seen again.
Oh my God, the range is double near. Like that's It's pretty good range. I like mycelium. You connect your mind with the Earth's vast fungi network. Ask the GM a question up to 15 words. They answer up to 15 words. But you talk to mushrooms to get an answer.
Yeah.
So what is the penance for that? You just go on like a really wicked high?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Wizards don't have penance. They suffer mishaps.
Yeah, they get the bad
So what's
shit.
the mishap? You get really fucking high?
You don't know. You roll and find out.
You start the freaking zombie plague.
Yep.
With the mic in it. I'm stupid. That's great.
All right. What else we got?
This is interesting. There's true name, or there's name. It's called naming. As you learn the true name of a creature you touch. If the creature is willing, you can give it a new true name.
I notice how it says true name and not true age. That's weird.
More so if it does so, its alignment changes to your alignment. So you can change alignments on people with this spell.
If they agree.
Yeah, but that's not something that you don't see that in any role-playing game very often.
No
nothing written. No.
Like cursed items will change alignments, but I can't think of any spells that have ever done that.
Wish.
Well, yeah, wish, but Fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We have lawful wizards are mages.
Oh, that
Uh,
says mages. I thought that said pages.
Nah, this is mages. This is based on the titles that wizards get in the core book.
Yeah.
They prefer the term magi.
And then, but this is the one. This is one of the spells I love that is thematic and also balancing. Abjure, you and one creature you touch both die.
Yep. No, yeah, I love it. There's no save. There's no level requirements. It's just you and something else both just die.
Yeah, you cast the spell successfully. You and everybody you just touched just expire.
Yeah, I will say from a lot of the spells that I looked at it here, the one thing that she doesn't like is big bad evil guys, because there are multiple spells just like that that can just shut down a big bad evil guy if you make your check.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
what I'm thinking like the inverse of that. Just think of a big bad evil guy that starts a cult and just has a bunch of followers with that spell. You're going to usurp an entire like
That's a tier 5
cities.
spell.
I mean, that's a tier 5 spell. You're talking very
So?
high level. You're talking high level spellcasters.
Oh no, it's not like cults just like get into people's brains of any financial level or experience level. They'll
Yeah, but
just
when you have to understand when you're that high of a level of a wizard, you're world changing. Like these are the people who run nations, who
yeah.
run cities. Like you're not going to be able to get a lot of them.
Oh no, it's not like they're just corrupt as shit to begin with. I don't know.
Anyway,
Yeah, you got to be a lawful wizard to have it.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, that's fair.
And there's that. Yeah.
Lawful evil wizard.
Yeah.
yeah, nope, not in.
Yeah, I
that's
know, I
fine.
know, I know.
All right. What else we got?
They do have glyph, which is cool.
Yes. I love glyph.
This is sort of like Glyph of Warding, but it can also do some other stuff. It kind of has, if you remember in old D&D, there's a spell that you usually put on like spell books and stuff called Sepia Snake Sigil,
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
and it kind of
Mhm.
has that. So you get to draw an arcane symbol on an object, and it does one of these effects. And this one is a reader of level 6 or less is just paralyzed for an hour.
I love it.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
that was
you draw an arcane symbol on an object that imparts one of the following magical effects. There are 4 different effects. There's no reason that you can't cast this for 4 different times and put
Yep.
every single effect on there.
Was there no
Duration.
identify spell until
There was not.
until this
Yeah.
book?
Yep.
So identify is a third level is a third tier spell. So 5th level wizard, lawful wizard to cast a spell. And they also reintroduced permanence, which I love.
Fuck
That's
yeah.
something that was not in 5th edition either.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know, that's interesting that there's no way to really identify a magic item except for, well, I guess there is a way to identify magic, just trial and error, like
Yeah,
But-
there's some trial and error. There's certain things where like they encourage like depending on the magic item to let wizards or people that should know things about specific items.
Mhm.
Detect Magic has the thing where if you focus in on it, you can get some general ideas about the item. But this is just your answer to I know exactly what this weird thing does.
Right.
I mean, look how long it took Gandalf to identify the ring.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
15 years, something like that.
I'm glad they added permanence because that's a very simple way to create some magic items and stuff.
Sort of. Look at the way it's worded in this. You choose one object in range that is currently under the effects of a spell that you have cast. The
Mhm.
duration of that spell becomes 1 year. So it has to be an object that is under a spell you cast.
Yeah.
You cannot alter the original spell's effect after casting permanent. For instance, you can no longer move an object under the effects of telekinesis, which is just interesting, the fact that you telekinesis something, cast permanence, and then something is stuck in place for a year.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't have the entire spell list in front of me, but there are most likely spells you could cast. Well, hell, like we were talking about glyph. Duration's 1 week. You could
Yeah.
permanence glyph onto an object where it would
Yeah.
last for a year. So, like, there's ways to make magical objects out of this.
Yeah,
Mind you, it's not cheap. You do have to sprinkle a powdered diamond. So,
yeah, there are spells that enchant your like weapons to do extra
Mhm.
damage, so you could get a sort of magic item out of that by casting one of those and then casting this on it.
yeah, you're probably not going to make better magic items than you're going to find along the way, but
Right, which I think is intentional.
oh yeah, as it should be.
Yeah, they also have stasis, which I think is neat because this is a spell with a duration of indefinite, where a willing creature you touch becomes suspended in time. If it's unwilling, it's got to be level 5 or less. The target becomes unconscious and does not age. Its bodily functions cease, though it remains alive. You can end the spell at any time or when a predefined condition you choose while casting the spell is met. That's how you get, wizards that stay alive, or something that stays alive until like the mythological, we've stashed this hero in the closet until the time has come where he's needed.
I don't have to defeat my enemies. I just have to live longer than they do.
Yeah.
It's interesting how much the Bears company has had an effect on D&D and other tabletop role-playing games.
Everything takes a magic, takes a crushed up diamond.
Yeah, everything takes a diamond because diamonds are forever, God damn it. I hate the Bears.
They are expensive. At least the real ones are.
Only the blood money ones are expensive.
Yes, those. Moving on.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into blood money politics, but diamonds. I'm here to talk about that shit.
Do it in your own D&D game.
Next, we get our chaotic wizards, which are sorcerers, and their bevy of malevolent spells. They get some very dark sun-like spells here.
Yes, they do.
You get blight. When you cast a spell, a close-sized patch of earth around you crumbles into lifeless ash, and you get a +1 to all your spellcasting checks for the duration.
Yeah, I'd be casting that as a chaotic wizard all the damn time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You also get defile. When you cast a spell, a near-sized circle of earth around you disintegrates into infertile ash. For the spell's duration, you treat all tier 1 to 3 spells you successfully cast as critical successes.
Ooh, that's nice.
You cannot cast this spell while under its effects. You get sorcerers really go out on the evil stuff. They get some great flavorful spells. Betrayal, a creature of level 7 or less you see in range turns on its allies, regarding them as hostile enemies for the duration. Dismember, one creature in range of level 9 or less loses an arm or leg. Roll randomly to determine which. It takes 1d8 damage each time this happens. This duration of this is focused. The target loses a new limb each round of the spell's duration. If it has no other limbs to lose, it instead is beheaded and dies.
I love that it doesn't really give you the description of how it loses the limb. You as the game master really kind of get to decide what that looks like.
Yeah. That is a fantastically evil spell.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, wonderful.
You're like jamming out in this guitar, and all of a sudden your hand feels weird, and all of a sudden it's gone. You look at a picture, and your brother's disappeared.
Got a case of the dropsies. Yeah, they get dominate, which I'm not going to read, but we know how that works.
Yeah.
Masm's mesmerism. I love the name.
Yeah.
You weave a mind-numbing miasma of dark magic around your targets. At the start of their turn, all humanoid creatures of level 5 or less in range must pass a charisma check versus the last spellcasting check you made. Creatures who fail stand motionless and agape, staring at unseen images.
Hypnotic pattern.
Mm-hmm. With a better name.
With a better name. I wish there was more of this in Shadowdark. Named spells that would imply something about the world of, dark wizards, light wizards, cool people out there that have created some of the magic that's there in the world now.
I'm going to start doing that. I hadn't even thought about that. I'm playing a wizard in a D&D game. I'm just going to start calling every spell I cast a different name. It's going to be named after me.
That's where we got Jim's magic missile.
Yeah.
It's a great way to add flavor to the game. It's one of the, like I mentioned before, it was one of the things that the new Forgotten Realms book got right, of adding a bunch of new name spells. And I
Yeah.
wish there was more of that in more games.
Yeah.
Sorcerers here also get Feeble Mind. One creature level 10 or less has its int and charisma reduced to 1, and it cannot cast spells. The duration is 1d8 days.
Yeah. And mind you, that spell is very similar to that in D&D. Brutal fucking spell.
Yeah, especially brutal when there's no specific skills, so everything is a stat check. That means all of your int and charisma checks are rough, and also there are things that can do potentially int and charisma damage out in the game, and if any of your stats go to 0, you die.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely brutal spell, but it's 5th level at least.
Yeah. And then this is the evil wizard's sort of permanence. They get subjugate. In order to cast the spell, you must have your diamonds of forever, powder diamond. You choose one creature that is currently under the effects of a dominate, feeble mind, or polymorph spell that you have cast, and the duration becomes 1 year.
I turned him into a newt.
Yeah.
And then
I
I
got
made
better after a
Yeah.
year.
All right. I think that's the vast majority of the
Yeah,
spells.
those are the big ones that I want to talk about. There's some other ones out there, but those are the ones I thought were particularly noteworthy or a lot of fun, or said something about the style of the game.
Yeah. And then you have the diabolical mishaps, which I think were in a previous one.
They were. Those are for witches and anyone that casts witches spells, basically.
Yeah.
Anytime you have a witch spell, if you fail critically, you get a diabolical mishap.
And then they had the necromancer mishaps.
Yep.
I like that one of them is spectral hands. You just lose a random piece of gear.
Yeah. That is pretty brutal in Shadowdark.
Oh, definitely. You can't
Not
really carry.
well.
You can't carry that much stuff in the first place.
You can't carry that much. All of it is probably precious, and you definitely don't want to lose a random piece gear, which could include your armor or weapons or whatever.
Yep, just disappears.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a look at Cursed Scroll 6, starting with the Bard class. I know you and Dan weren't particularly thrilled with the Bard class.
Yeah. So just as a first overview, Cursed Scroll 6 is the City of Masks. So this is mostly describing a city and giving you lots of kind of encounters and various things to do in one of the big cities in the kind of implied setting of Shadowdark. Included in part of that are the characters of that, including the Bard class. Yeah, as you mentioned, I don't think either one of us were particularly in love with this take on the Bard. There are some things I like about it. I love that it is not a spellcaster.
No, it is not, which is
I do
good.
like that. It does have some of the kind of stuff you expected of a Bard. You're good at performing and oration and lore and diplomacy. That all seems fine. You get a lot of languages, which makes sense. You get your kind of Pied Piper thing of Fascinate, where you can make a check and transfix all targets near whose level is less than 1 plus half your level.
Yeah, that one I was like, it's okay. I kind of don't like the so I love Shadowdark, but I ran into an issue previously in the main book where there was an ability somewhat similar to that, and it doesn't give you a better description of the word. So the word transfix. How does that work? I don't need a perfect, complete description of how does that work, but give me at least a little something. Like transfix means you stand there. Okay, but are they at least aware of what's around them, or is it just like a paralyze? I need something.
Yeah, and I think I get that, and I think that is a That is a legitimate criticism, but I also think it's kind of meant to be that way. Like she's deliberately avoided a list of like conditions, like D&D style
Yeah.
of here's this condition, it does this, and it's meant to be like, well, you decide what it means, but you should try to use common sense. You can look up the word transfix. To me, I know I would rule it properly at my table that okay, they're transfixed. That means they are base. My rule is they're going to be completely focused on you. They're not paying attention to anything but you, and they're gazing intently at you, and all their attention is focused on the bard. Who is as long as you keep doing this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things. So just imagine as a scenario, your bard is on stage. They do the fascinate. Everybody's transfixed on them. Uh, an experienced game master, okay, somebody can easily run around and pick pockets without anybody noticing because they are all transfixed. But if somebody punches somebody else, obviously the target that's punched won't be transfixed, but is everybody else still transfixed? An experienced game master is going to say that the bard thing, the fascinate, just sort of stops at that point. But a newer game master might say everybody still is, paying attention except for the one guy who got hit.
Yeah, and I haven't been on the Discord. Maybe Christian has, but I'm guessing these questions have probably come up, and Kelsey
Probably, yeah.
likely has answered them. But yeah, I think you're right. Like I would rule it very similarly to hypnotic pattern, in 5e. But since there's a lot of things that you don't do in Shadowdark that you do in 5e and other systems, like in your example, let's say the bard is up on the stage. He fascinates everybody. Everybody's transfixed and looking at him. So everybody in near is looking at him. So
Yep.
the thief goes up behind a bunch of wealthy patrons and starts just slitting purses and grabbing watches and stuff like that. Which there's no real fucking role for perception checks or anything like that. They're transfixed.
Mhm.
There's no reason they're looking down at their wallet at the time. The thief is basically getting away with it, so long as like people who are not transfixed don't alert them to this. Like if say a guardsman who did not get transfixed by the fascinate because he's too high a level, sees his charge get pickpocketed, he's going to shake his charge and be like, "Hey, sir, you've been robbed," and then suddenly a fight's happening. What I think people might get hung up on is how this gets used in a fight. Let's say you walk into a group of you find some orcs or something like that, like six
Yep.
orcs that are within near, and you fascinate them. So what happens then? Because the bard's going to be the smooth talker. He's going to be the one that starts off the conversation and tries to prevent a fight. If the party decides to just sneak past him, sure, awesome, fantastic.
Yeah.
They were transfixed, but here's the problem: is transfixed means they're transfixed on the bard. The bard's he's either talking or reciting something or performing his music, and they're just transfixed upon. The party can sneak by. The bard can't. It's not as if like it's a hypnotic pattern where you can just walk off and just leave them there.
Yeah.
It's like
Yep.
Yeah.
that kind of sucks.
And then there's also the issue of, okay, well, they're transfixed. The fighter hits one of them. Do all of them stop being transfixed, or do they, or is it just the one that gets hit? Like that's
I
the
mean,
only.
I think
as
the
a DM, I
important-
think I would rule. In your example, I would say that the one that got hit is no longer transfixed, and then you kind of go from there. But of course, the bard also has to maintain focus. So it's not just like free for all of murdering people. And I think part of the problem I had with the bard is that they seem really cool for city social encounters.
Mhm.
They seem really cool for an NPC. They don't seem very cool for a PC. And the reason I say that is that, Shadowdark specifically is all about exploration, dungeon crawling, investigation, and things like that. And I understand that this cursed scroll, is introducing you to all the city aspect of this, but they aren't really good at anything else. The only other useful thing I can see that they have in a group is once per day they can grant a number of luck tokens equal to their charisma modifier, which could be
Well,
between 1 and
it,
5. But
if
again, there's 2 other classes that already
Right.
grant
The
luck
seer
tokens,
is just better at
and the
that. So.
priest.
yeah, with the bless spell. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the important thing whenever you have something like this with transfix or anything else in a different class is that if a player is playing the class, you establish with them ahead of time, this is how this works, so that they know and can make informed decisions on how to use that. So if they know ahead of time, hey guys, if I use this, but you guys start a fight with one of them or you hurt one of them, they're all going to break out of it. That way they know how it works definitively, and they're not wondering each time they
Yeah,
use it. Well, I
you've
don't
got
really know.
yeah, you got to make that call before people
You make
select
it
the
when they
class at
start
all.
playing the class, yeah, and
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
this is if you want to play this class, that's cool. This is how this ability is going to work in my game. This is how
So
I'm going to rule on it, and then they can decide I like that or I don't like that, or sure, I know how it works and I know how to use it around those circumstances.
So the reason why I say that, like, bards would be super cool for an NPC, like, or a henchman or something like that, is because of the bard talents they get. Roll a 2 on your bard talent. You have advantage on a downtime checks, excluding carousing. That's awesome. You're going to investigate something in the library. It's a downtime check. You're going to go do something cool. 10 to 11. Add +2 to your group's carousing event rolls, which doesn't seem like much until you realize that there's a new, really exhaustive sort of browsing table that goes beyond what was in the first book, which is great. But the
Yeah.
rest of their stuff is just +1 to melee or in ranged attacks, or +1 to fascinate rolls.
I mean, there are other ones.
And
Yeah.
plus to stats. But I mean, the only other thing that they really get is magical dabbler, which means they can use scrolls and wands using your charisma modifier.
Yeah, and the one thing on
Which
that
is
magical dabbler I don't like is the in place of making a talent roll, you may choose to find a random priest or wizard wand. I'm not a fan of just, instead of getting your level up bonus, you just find a magic item.
Yeah.
I don't love that. I also don't love it even for the player because
It could be
a
bad.
random mishap could be disappear, and then your level up has either been destroyed or stolen and is just
Yeah.
gone. And then
Yep.
you're like, okay, so do I just not get anything now, or do I get a new wand? Can I make a level up roll now? Like, yeah, that was one of the things I actually did argue against when this was in discussion for that, is I didn't love that part. I also, like damage, I don't love the inspire. I know Bardic Inspiration has been a thing in 5th edition, and so that will feel familiar to 5th edition players,
Yeah.
but I don't love it. I don't. That's not part of 5th edition I wanted to see come to Shadowdark, or felt like it needed to be carried over.
Just handing out the luck tokens. Yeah, because you get too many
Yeah.
classes. You get too many classes that can do that, and then it's just everybody has
Yeah, I
fucking
mean,
luck
so if you have a
tokens all
party
the time.
with a seer, a bard, and a priest, like, luck's just getting passed around left and right.
And I get that in a sense, Western Reach is kind of connecting all these, but each of these curse scrolls are meant to be kind of a self-contained thing where you would play with theoretically only the core 4 classes, and then if you're playing in the city of the curse scroll, or the setting of the curse scroll, you could play those classes in that curse scroll. So it's not necessarily meant that, hey, you just everything is added and everybody can pick every option all the time.
Yes, but you know that everybody's going to do it that way
Right.
anyway. So
Right. And especially when you're setting this thing as a, hey, we're now showing you the whole Western Reaches, and you're getting a Western Reaches player's guide that contains all of the classes from all the curse scrolls. So it does feel like those are options if you're playing on the Western Reaches.
all right, let's get a move on. We got the go ahead.
Duelist.
Yeah, the duelist.
I mean, I've always liked having some sort of rapier and main gauche, Princess Bride, Inigo Montoya, duelist type character, and this really kind of hits it home. Weapons, dagger, and all sorts. So that opens them up for things in future curse scrolls and expansions as well. I thought this was interesting. Armor, leather, and Mithril Chainmail. I don't think any of the other classes specifically have a material for the type of armor they're allowed to use, but that's sweet. That's pretty sweet. Their abilities are parry once per day, and attack of your choice that would hit you just misses instead. That's thematic and definitely something a duelist would
once
do.
a day, that's fine. Yeah.
Tail Spinner, you may make a DC 15 charisma check. If you pass, strangers around you believe you are famous and important for the remainder of your interaction with them. The same individual cannot be fooled by this twice. I don't know about that one as far as being part of the duelist class, but for Curse Scroll 6, okay, that makes sense. That seems useful. I can see the duelist and the bard going in there, posing as some sort of aristocracy, and sneaking in, playing the distraction card while the thief and the fighter and the rest of the party goes and burgles something. That seems fine.
I do like it because your duelist is he is sort of a warrior of sorts, but he is also a flamboyant warrior. He is desiring of getting attention. He's also a little bit of a scoundrel. He's like the Three Musketeers, or even if this is the Han Solo thing. He goes in there and he's like, "Oh, we're all fine. I am an officer." You try to impersonate someone.
We're fine. How are you?
Yeah, I'm Colonel. I'm a Colonel. Actually, is a thing. Yeah. The other ability is Taunt. When an enemy misses you with an attack, you have advantage on attacks against that enemy the next round, which is awesome. The ability to give yourself an advantage when somebody actually misses you is great. And his talent, the talents are, the standard sort of thing. We're +1 to melee attacks and damage, +2 to strength, dex, or charisma. 10 to 11 is deal d6 damage when you hit with a taunt attack, which is even better. Just slap them back after they miss you. And once per day, 2 is once per day. All attacks that would hit you this round just miss instead. So like fucking fighting a Hydra or something, you're just like, no. I know the old master's way to parry.
Or you're fighting a bunch of enemies, you just you can use that. And I do love the 3 to 6 is +1 to all melee attacks and damage, or +1 parry per day, so you can get more parries, because parry and taunt kind of go hand in hand, because parry makes an attack miss, and that way you get to use your taunt thing.
I like the class.
It's a good class.
Yeah, it's clean. It's simple. It hits the right notes.
Let's see. So she delves further into mage spells, which is lawful wizards can choose blah 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 from these spells below, which gives you some more spells, which I think were included in the spells list, or were they not?
They were. These are the mage spells that we went over. The
playtest. There's a lot of tables in here that we're not really going to cover.
No, but we can kind of gloss over a couple of things that are just kind of throwbacks to old editions, like Renown.
Yeah,
Renown was important in first edition and a little bit in second edition, and definitely in like Oriental Adventures and things like that.
And for those who've never messed with Renown is basically a how famous is your character type thing, but when you would deal with random NPCs, a lot of times it would be you would make rolls to see what their reaction to you is going to be. That's a thing that's sort of gone away with later editions of D&D.
Absolutely, yeah.
But it's very much alive in this. So it sort of a high renown sort of sets you in a good starting point because you're famous and people at least
it plays well with both the new classes too. Especially with the duelist impersonating somebody more famous and more powerful than he is, and the bard just to be able to talk his way out of pretty much anything. Of course you haven't heard of me? Haha. I'm so and so.
I do love how Renown 2 also kind of sets up your characters for sets them up for adventure, because there's things that where they can lose renown, like if you're a famous adventurer and somebody comes to you with a thing publicly and you don't accept the quest, then everyone kind of looks at you and you get social shame and you can lose renown. They have things of losing renown, like public humiliation. And I love that one of them is going broke, but also being frugal loses you renown. So you can't go broke, but you also can't be frugal.
One other thing that's of great importance: a character's renown can grow over time and increase their fame or infamy. And you have to
Yes.
remember that infamy. If you're playing a bad guy, you might walk into a town and the guards might fucking recognize you.
Yeah.
Which is great. So yeah, there's that, but what I think is really people are going to really dig about this zine is just this curse scroll is also the expanded options for downtime. So they have specific expanded options for skullduggery, spiritualism, martial training, magical research. A huge new table for carousing, especially since now you can have your bard buddy give you bonuses to the carousing.
I'm
You
so
know,
glad. I'm so glad they added this carousing stuff because I was not a fan of the carousing tables that they had in the main book. So
yeah.
this will make
I
it
mean,
actually
she gives
much
you a
more
full
useful.
D100 for
Right.
carousing, and then also the carousing mishap of D100
I love
as
that there
well.
are carousing mishaps.
It needed it. It
Hell
did.
yeah.
I
So,
agree.
yeah.
Yeah, a press gang of 2d6 bandits tries to abduct you at night. You slapped a street mime. Children now dislike you for a week.
Yeah. You
Like,
let
this
two
is great.
you let 2d6 prize mastiffs escape a kennel. Find them or else. Like
A
that
a fortune teller has hexed you. You can't use luck for a week.
Oh, it's
ooh,
beautiful.
that's mean. But yeah,
There's-
the mastiffs thing, didn't they make 3 movies about that?
yeah.
But yeah, you're right, Jay. There's just a whole lot of tables. People that are familiar with just city books from like second edition, especially, uh, detailing out places like Neverwinter, Waterdeep, and places like that. This does a very good job of having a nice map, throwing out a lot of different places that are named, but plenty of locations you can name or put something in yourself. A number of tables that will just help you flesh out the city if you're going to have city adventures, and it's nice. It's definitely different than anything else that she's produced, and I appreciate that she's branching out and allowing you to play your characters, not just delving into a dungeon with a torch, which is
Yeah.
Yeah.
it makes the world feel alive, which I
Yeah.
hope is really how the whole culmination of the Western Reaches is really going to be, which I think she'll be successful with anyway.
Yeah,
So.
I like that there are factions in the city that gives you
Mhm.
people to get involved with. They have goals and enemies and things that some of them don't like each other. And so if you get in with one, you may automatically be on the outs with others. There's holidays where they talk about things that it means to the city, and you get different things that involve carousing during certain holidays.
Big list of rumors.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then a lot of the general maps of the different districts and what's kind of in those districts, which is also useful for anybody who runs cities, or if your players ever go to a city, you need stuff like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's
That's-
a D40 list of NPCs, just random NPCs.
Mhm.
yeah. If you need some just random NPC very quickly, they're pretty reasonably fleshed out. Warner Sevrek, half orc dock worker, gentle hearted but moonlights as a thug for cash.
I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah, there's just a lot of good stuff in here. And I wouldn't expect anything less. What I wasn't expecting though was jumping from Curse Scroll 4 to Curse Scroll 6.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But it's in the works. We've seen some stuff from it, so looking forward to it.
yeah. Still 2 more of them. So
Maple's, you awake?
Yeah, I'm
Turkey
here.
coma? Okay, just make sure.
he was definitely in a turkey coma after eating
Yeah, I figured he was.
36 turkeys over the past 2 days. So.
36 now in a
Keeps growing.
row?
It was 36 pounds of turkey.
Yeah,
Oh,
try not to eat any
okay.
turkey and out of the parking lot.
I'm so
No,
glad
there's
there's
another.
another. Yeah, I got it. I got it.
All right. Well, we got anything else that we need to hit up on tonight, boys?
Nothing important. I'll save any other stuff for next week So, because we're well over an hour at this point.
It's all right.
Oh, was there a rumor that there was going to be some psionics coming out in Curse Scroll 5? Or
Oh yeah, they were definitely going to talk